Breaking news this morning as a thick blanket of fog causes chaos on the interstate. Emergency crews are on the scene of a massive pileup.
If you're waking up in the U.S. right now, you might be walking straight into a dangerous situation without even realizing it. The National Weather Service has just issued dense fog advisories across multiple regions, and visibility is dropping so low that drivers can barely see a few feet ahead. This isn't just normal fog. This is the kind of weather that causes sudden highway pileups, flight delays, and major morning commute chaos. And what's scary is it can hit instantly, even if your area looked clear just an hour ago. So which states are at the highest risk, and how long will this last? Let's break it down. All right, listen up, because this isn't just some normal morning fog situation. The National Weather Service has officially issued dense fog advisories across multiple areas, and that's a big deal. When the NWS puts out an alert like this, it means conditions are serious enough that visibility can drop to a quarter mile or even less. And if you've ever driven in fog that thick, you already know how scary it can get. One moment you're driving like normal, and the next moment, it feels like the entire world just disappears in front of you. What makes dense fog so dangerous is how sudden it can be. You could leave your house thinking everything looks fine, and within minutes you're stuck in a wall of white where you can barely see the car ahead of you. And that's exactly how accidents happen. Fast. People speed up without realizing how bad it is, brake too late, and suddenly you've got a chain reaction on the highway. The NWS doesn't issue these advisories just for fun. This is a warning that drivers, commuters, and travelers need to slow down and stay alert. It's especially dangerous during early morning hours when people are rushing to work, school, or catching flights. So if you're in an area under this advisory, don't ignore it. Take it seriously. Give yourself extra time, use low-beam headlights, and keep your distance. Because in fog like this, one small mistake can turn into a huge disaster in seconds. This is where the situation gets really serious. Because dense fog isn't just an inconvenience, it's a major travel threat, especially on highways. Right now, drivers across affected regions are facing dangerously low visibility on interstates, bridges, and rural roads. And the scary part is, highways are exactly where fog becomes deadly. When you're moving at 60 or 70 miles per hour and you suddenly can't see more than a few feet ahead, your reaction time drops to almost nothing. You don't have time to process what's happening. You don't have time to brake safely. And if one car slows down suddenly, the vehicles behind them may not even realize it until it's too late. This is how massive pileups happen in America. It's not one crash. It's 10, 20, sometimes even more vehicles slamming into each other because nobody can see what's coming. Bridges are another major danger zone. Fog often becomes thicker over water, and on bridges, drivers can easily lose visibility even faster. Rural roads are just as risky because they're darker, less maintained, and sometimes don't even have proper lighting or clear lane markings. And here's the worst part. Fog doesn't feel dangerous until it suddenly is. People keep driving like normal because the road still looks okay, but then the visibility drops instantly and you're trapped in it. So if you're driving in these conditions, slow down. Seriously, keep your headlights on low beam, avoid sudden lane changes, and don't follow other cars too closely. Because in dense fog, it's not about being a good driver. It's about being prepared for the unexpected. 1 second of delay can mean everything. Now let's talk about another major impact of this dense fog situation, air travel. Because when fog gets this thick, it doesn't just mess with drivers, it can completely disrupt airports too. Across the US, many airports may be dealing with flight delays, diversions, or even cancellations, simply because visibility drops too low for safe takeoff and landing. And this is something a lot of people don't realize. Planes don't just need clear skies, they need clear runways. If pilots can't properly see the runway lights or the landing path, airports have to slow down operations or stop them entirely. Safety always comes first. And if you've ever been stuck at an airport during weather delays, you already know how stressful it is. People miss connecting flights, families get stranded, business trips fall apart, and suddenly airports become packed with frustrated travelers. One delay can create a chain reaction across the whole system. A flight that can't land in one city ends up being rerouted, which delays another flight, which delays another, and before you know it, the whole schedule is a mess. What makes dense fog especially frustrating is that it's unpredictable. It can look like it's clearing up, then suddenly it comes back even thicker. That's why airlines and airports sometimes have to make last-minute decisions. So if you're flying today or early tomorrow morning, don't assume everything is normal. Check your flight status constantly, arrive early, and be prepared for sudden changes. Because when dense fog hits, airports don't fight through it. They shut things down, and it can turn a simple trip into a long, exhausting day. Now here's what's really interesting and honestly kind of scary about this dense fog situation. It's forming fast, and it's forming quietly. This isn't the type of weather event where you see dark storm clouds rolling in or hear thunder. Dense fog builds in a way that almost feels invisible at first. The main reason it's happening is because the atmosphere right now has a lot of moisture, the winds are staying calm, and overnight temperatures are dropping. And when all of those conditions come together, it creates the perfect setup for fog to form and spread like crazy. Think about it like this. During the night, the ground cools down, and that cooling pulls moisture out of the air. The moisture turns into tiny water droplets, and those droplets hang in the air close to the surface. And because there's barely any wind, nothing pushes it away. It just sits there, thickening hour by hour. That's why fog is usually worst late at night and early in the morning. People go to sleep and everything seems normal, but when they wake up, it's like the entire neighborhood has been swallowed by a white cloud. And what makes this dangerous is how quickly it can change. You might be driving and visibility looks okay. Then suddenly you turn onto a highway or pass through a low area near a river or open field, and boom, the fog becomes so thick you can barely see your own hood. This is exactly why weather experts keep warning people not to underestimate fog. It's not dramatic like a blizzard or hurricane, but it can be just as deadly because it catches people off guard. So the bottom line is simple. These weather conditions are perfect for sudden fog, and if you're out early, you need to stay alert. This is the part that really affects everyday people the most, because dense fog doesn't usually hit in the middle of the day. It hits when everyone is rushing. Right now, this advisory is expected to impact the early morning commute the hardest. And that means millions of Americans heading to work, school, or early appointments could be driving straight into extremely dangerous conditions without even realizing it. The morning commute is already stressful on a normal day. People are half awake, running late, drinking coffee, checking their phones at stoplights, and then add thick fog on top of that. Suddenly the road becomes a completely different world. Visibility drops, headlights blur, and everything feels confusing. It becomes harder to judge distance, speed, and even lane position. And what's worse is that dense fog creates a false sense of safety. Some drivers keep going at normal speed because they think it's just fog. But the truth is, you don't get a second chance in conditions like this. One sudden stop, one car braking ahead, and it can turn into a crash instantly. Now the good news is, in many cases, fog advisories usually start clearing after sunrise. Once the sun comes up and warms the ground, the fog begins to lift. But here's the problem. Some areas may stay foggy longer, especially near rivers, valleys, and low-lying regions where moisture gets trapped. So even if your weather app says it should clear soon, don't let your guard down too early. If you're heading out this morning, leave extra time, drive slower than usual, and treat every mile like you're driving through the unknown. Because in fog like this, you basically are. And that's the big update on this dense fog advisory situation happening across the US right now. Just remember, fog may not look as dramatic as a storm, but it can be just as dangerous, especially during the morning commute. So if you're heading out, slow down, stay alert, and don't take visibility for granted. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any major US news and weather updates. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. United States Fire.